Hey guys, it's Geek here, and welcome back to Ace Attorney, where we are finishing Turnabout Beginnings, in which we have accused one of our witnesses who... Her name's Delilah, but I actually forget the name that she's going by right now, and we have to prove that she is the real killer. I think we're very close to that, except she walked out of the courtroom, so now we're on recess, so... Let's get to it. Once I click into the game. Mr. Flaws. Ugh. Eek. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I want to say thanks. You're really good. You really hooked me up. Well, we're not done yet. Thanks. We're almost there. Once I prove that she committed the crime. Yeah, but there's one more big obstacle we got to get past. Obstacle? Yeah, motive. Why would Melissa Foster kill the policewoman anyway? Motive, huh? Anyway, we're still badly in need of information. Information, right? All we need the most is info about this Melissa Foster herself. All we know is that she's a student studying literature. And one more thing. What is it? Well, the incident that happened 5 years ago, of course. The kidnapping murder case that Zebra Boy is on death row for. I didn't do nothing. I didn't kill nobody. I never lie. Okay, fine, it was a tiny lie. Is that what you're going with? Mr. Flaws, in that case, tell us more about it. About what happened 5 years ago. Okay, I trust you. That day, 5 years ago, I dream of it every day. This picture reminds me of everything. Bridge looks same, just like then, 5 years ago. Like it could fall apart any minute. It's been broken for like that for the last 5 years. Ha, sorry buddy, but you sound like one that could fall apart at any minute. And true, I did kidnap her. 5 years ago, I kidnapped my girlfriend, Delilah Hawthorne. Your girlfriend? Huh? Hey, hold on there. Did you say Hawthorne? The victim's last name. Delilah Hawthorne, Valerie's little sister. What? Are you serious? Wait, Delilah killed her sister? The girl. Let her go. Shut up. Come closer. And I kill her. Wait, did he not recognize the girl in the stand as Delilah? Sorry, but you're not going to get the chance. Or did he kidnap someone else? The detective back then was Valerie Hawthorne. At first, I thought shooting someone for a kidnapping was crossing the line, but it was to protect her little sister. I can understand why she did it. Wrong. No protect sister. Valerie betrayed me. Betray us. What do you mean she betrayed you? Everything. All lies. All make-believe. Kidnapping, too. A make-believe kidnapping? Delilah, my girlfriend, my love, my teen angel. That's gross, my dude. Ugh, did he actually say my teen angel? He's seen one too many soap operas. And he's a ped. I do anything she says. Anything Delilah says. Anything Delilah says? Hold on a minute. What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by, yeah, me and Delilah. And Valerie, too. Valerie was in on it? Delilah's family's rich. Jewelry business. We get one jewel. That's what we thought. Me and Delilah wrote kidnap note we send to her dad for fake ransom. And let me guess, Delilah found out that it was her sister who ruined that plan. As for $2 million diamond, tell him make exchange on Dusky Bridge. We tell him Valerie make transfer cause she knew detective. Having police detective in your pocket is a useful thing, alright. In the end, you were planning on splitting the 2 million three ways, huh? Yeah, but that woman. Although this does, one of my problems with proving that it was Delilah who did the murder was the fact that Delilah would have to have gotten the body inside of Flawless' car, but him saying he'll do anything for Delilah, and thus, if we prove that Melissa is Delilah, he would have done anything she said, so that actually helps with my problem from the previous episode. That woman, Valerie, she do it for real. She shoot me for real. Me and Delilah. I was shot in arm. Delilah, she jumped in river. Oh. Wait. There's still the note. So, wait. This is the same. Yeah, that's the same spelling. Jump. You mean she jumped on purpose? You don't mean she jumped on purpose, do you? I couldn't do it. I could never push her. Anyway, I blacked out. Wake up with police all over. And that's when they decided to give you the death sentence. I couldn't believe it. That woman, she betrayed me. That man, Terry Flaws, he killed her. He threw her off the bridge. He threw my beloved sister into the roaring river 40 feet below. These 5 years, all I wonder is, why? 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 Why did she lie? That's all I want to know. So that's why you called her. You wanted to hear the truth from Valerie herself. Yes, but I forget what she looked like, so I tell her to wear a scarf. I don't want to hurt her, just ask why. Why? Why did you lie? Why did you betray me? I just want to hear an answer come from her mouth, that's all. So that's why. That's why you made a crazy escape like that. Just one thing, Zebra Boy. My senses are tingling all over. Tell me, Mr. Flaws, where is it? The diamond? Huh? Where's what? Come on now, kitten. The ransom. The $2 million diamond. Remember that now? Did you give it back to Pops? Did the police take it? I don't know. Delilah took it for herself. Huh? You don't know? No, really. I don't know. It's gone with Delilah. So they would only have to split it 2 ways instead of 3 ways. This is like the same exact thing that happened with Phoenix's case, where we also had to test, where it was also against Delilah. With Delilah? That day, on the bridge, Lila put it in backpack. Now gone with Delilah, gone forever, into Eagle River. It disappeared with Delilah, huh? Wait a minute. You can come back in now. We're about ready to go. Mr. Floss, just one more question. When you said with Delilah, do you mean the diamond is still missing? Along with the body of Delilah Hawthorne? Never found her. My sweet Delilah. You never found her. Swallowed by river. Gone. Delilah, my teen angel. Your teen angel? How old was she anyway? Just, oh gosh. No. I know this takes place in Japan, but no. Just 14? 14? Guess you were robbing cradles before diamonds. She plans a fake kidnapping and disappears into the river with a rock worth 2 mil? Man oh man, angels these days. Floss takes the fall and gets a one-way ticket to death row. Is Delilah Hawthorne an angel, or is she really a devil? It's time, kitten. It looks like we have a few more aces up our sleeve now. You bet. Wait, so if he didn't recognize her as Delilah, unless Delilah told him to keep his mouth shut. Who knows? When training wheels come off now, Mia. You gotta strike while the iron is hot. That's one of my rules. Remember it. This is going to be insanely harder, isn't it? Like last episode was hard enough. Now then, let's continue with the trial of Mr. Terry Falls. Witness, are you feeling better? Yes, Your Honor. I'll try my best. You're a brave young lady. Not this again. I can understand a defense lawyer wanting to get her client off the hook. However, to try to pin the crime on an innocent student is... What are you talking about? My witness is not the person on trial here. She is an innocent bystander who witnessed a violent crime. That's all. What possible reason could a girl like this have for murdering a policewoman? It's certainly hard to imagine this woman as a murderer. Her motive, huh? Figured that's what I had established next. Well, Miss Faye, do you have any evidence of a motive? Yes, of course, I think. Ha. You're still acting as tame as a kitten. Kitten? Mr. Armando, listen. A lawyer is someone who smiles no matter how bad it gets. Smiling on the outside while your guts are twisted in knots is the mark of a pro. Maybe so, but I wish you would quit grinning at me like that. Excuse me. May I speak, Mr. Judge? Of course. Mr. Judge is ready anytime you like. That was creepy. I'd like to say something. Some people here are suspicious of me, right? That's why I at least wanted you, Mr. Judge, to know that it's not true. I see. Such an honest and upstanding young lady. Looks like this witness is a real professional. What do you mean? Look at that 100-watt smile. Just when things are darkest for her, click, she lights right up. Very well then, let's hear what the witness has to say. Melissa Foster's history. I was out of the country until the year before last. So she's been around for a year. Long enough to hide her identity, as it's been 4 years out of the country. Until I entered college, I had never even been to Eagle Mountain before. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer. Holding a grudge and killing the officer who testified against you 5 years ago? Or kidnapping a poor girl? I just think the defendant is a terrible, horrible monster. How do you know all of that? Out of the country, eh? Precisely. Furthermore, she has no possible motive for committing murder. Indeed. You're up to bat, kitten. Sharpen those claws and put on your best smile. You bet. Somehow I have to tie her to this case. Yeah, I figured I had I had no lies from last time. What am I doing? I was trying to save it from the very beginning, but that was apparently not happening. I was out of the country? Where were you? So what country were you living in then? We were all living abroad, but after my parents were killed, it was a brutal civil war. She had to try to make her way back home alone. I lost everything. Didn't even have any personal identification. Oh, how convenient. What kind of sob story is this? What do I do? Should I press her for details? She didn't answer what country. Witness, answer my question. I'll even repeat it for you. What country were you in? Your Honor, this line of questioning is childish. What country she was in and how many languages she may speak are relevant here. No one asked her about languages. What we're here to evaluate is whether this witness has any connection to this case. I lived abroad ever since I was a little girl. That's why I could never know Mr. Flaws or Detective Hawthorne. Yes, I think we established that point. Yes, indeed. Well then, shall we add what you just stated to the official testimony? Yes, please, Mr. Judge. Naturally, I didn't know. You didn't know either person? Are you certain of that? Yes, I'm afraid I'm rather shy around people. Oh well, that can't be helped. Why is he just agreeing with everything that comes out of her mouth? The first time you saw either of them was when they were on the bridge, correct? Yes, it really was a coincidence. Till I entered college, never even been to Eagle Mountain before. So what made you decide to go to Eagle Mountain anyway? I just loved being outdoors, picnics, hiking, you know, that sort of thing. You don't look like much of a hiker to me, but you do look like a digger of sorts. A gold digger? The Eagle Mountain is a 2-hour drive from here, and no trains run through there. Are there plenty of mountains? There are plenty of mountains that are closer and easier to get to. Well, I went there once with the college hiking club. I fell in love with its stark, desolate beauty and its cold yet romantic gloominess. Didn't know you're such a goth. By the way, what's the name of your college? The prosecution objects to any questions that involve the witness's private life. All that matters is that she is a material witness to a crime. The witness doesn't need to respond to questions that are clearly malicious in intent. If she can't answer the name of her college, that's super suspicious. Thank you. She's really gone too far. Miss Faye, you're treading on thin ice here. I hardly said anything. Talk about sensitive. And I certainly don't have any reason for wanting to hurt a police officer. Perhaps, but your behavior that day was very suspicious. Not only have you contradicted yourself here in court, but you know things you shouldn't. For example, the scratches on the trunk of the car. Well, that's... Unfortunately, Miss Faye, your last statement proves nothing. Oh, really? And why is that? The witness came to the police station once to identify the suspect. It's entirely possible that, at the time, an officer showed her this photo. That seems like a rather serious mistake. That's the oldest trick in the prosecutor's book. That's not fair. That wicked inmate will never be able to forget that horrible day. Holding a grudge. How did you know? A grudge? Well, the policewoman's testimony was crucial, wasn't it? Crucial in getting the defendant sentenced to death. Yes, and that's precisely why he harbored such deep anger against her. So much anger that he forgot his own guilt. My client has always maintained that he's innocent of those charges. He seems rather forgetful. Your client, I mean. He doesn't recognize her. Not only did he forget about what he did, but he forgot the poor policewoman as well. What do you mean by that? Your client. He forgot what the detective looked like, right? It's so bad for her that he didn't forget about her testimony as well. Well, she's right about that. Mr. Flaws is kind of forgetful. You said he forgot what the detective looked like? What did you mean by that? Well, he couldn't tell who she was without some kind of identification, right? Quite right. That's why the victim was wearing a scarf as identification. Why, if I had been wearing a white scarf that day, then he probably would have tried to kill me. That's true. He's clearly a bitter man. This is bad. Mr. Flaw's reputation just keeps getting worse and worse. But the only person who would have known about the scarf was... Sometimes it's best not to poke too deep. What should I do with that last statement? Add it to the testimony. Your Honor, what the witness said just now was tremendously important. I'd like to add it to the official testimony. The prosecution has no objection. After all, the defendant is a killer and a mentally unbalanced one at that. Testimony only helps further prove that point. No, that's not why I... Enough. Witness, if you would. My pleasure, Mr. Judge. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. That statement is just super... What do you mean by lucky? Well, it's February now. Everyone is wearing scarves. If I had accidentally worn a white scarf like he said, then yourself might have been killed. That would have been a terrible loss for this world. Looks like you pressed too hard this time, kitten. Keep looking around. Justice is blind, but she's not deaf. You just have to know when you don't. You knew about the incident, but weren't you out of the country until the year before last? Well, I saw a report about the escaped convict on the news. They had an in-depth report about his whole history. So you were still living abroad 5 years ago? Is that right? Yes. Can't let her get away with these lies. Listen to me, she's neck deep in this whole thing. Somehow you're just gonna have to get her to show her true self. Okay. Okay, confidential. Crime. Used for ransom. There's no way, as it stands now, that she wouldn't know that. Delilah Hawthorne. Let's see. She's 19 now, and 5 years ago she would have been 14. Naturally I didn't know either. Never even been to Eagle Mountain. I certainly don't have any reason to want to hurt a police officer. I guess I'm lucky I wasn't wearing a white scarf. Would she have been in the courtroom to know that she needed to wear a white scarf? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think she should have known about the scarf. It's true, Mr. Floss did give instructions to Valerie Hawthorne about their meeting. The note that she left said, "Wear a white scarf for identification." Yes, what about it? Isn't it obvious? Doesn't it strike you as odd? That note was a secret piece of evidence. How is it that the witness knows about it? Order. It is odd, isn't it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, did you show top secret evidence to the witness? Your Honor, I certainly never gave anyone permission to do such a thing. In that case, the only way the witness could know about the note would... Just a moment. Of course I didn't know about the note. It's just, I saw it when it happened, with my own eyes. When the victim went to see the killer, she used her own scarf to signal him. How would you know that? That's why I assumed the signal was a white scarf. I suppose that makes sense. No, it doesn't. Come on, Mia, you can't let her weasel out of it that easily. Witness, sorry, but your explanation isn't going to work here. But why? It's true. That's what I saw. Impossible. There's no way you could have seen the victim use a white scarf to signal him. Because it wasn't white. You said several times in your testimony that the victim was wearing a scarf. A white scarf, correct? Yes. Is something wrong? That's what I'd like to know, Miss Foster. Have a look at this. It's the victim's scarf. I'm sure people would disagree about what to call this color. However, it certainly is not white. You knew what the note said. She knew the contents of the note? No. It says, wear a white scarf for identification. That's the reason why you said it was white. Well, Miss Foster? Order. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm waiting for an explanation. I'm quite sure this note wasn't leaked to the public. And yet, this witness knew exactly what the note said. At the time of the murder, the number of people that knew were quite limited. Terry Flaws is one. The person who wrote the note, Valerie Hawthorne, is another. And finally, one more person. Did you say one more person? That's right, a person that no one would have suspected. Have you figured it out, kitten? Yup. The third person that knew the contents of the note was... Profiles... Delilah. And that person is... Delilah Hawthorne. Delilah Hawthorne? I've never heard that name before. Look at the victim's note. This is what it says. Talk to Delilah. Tell her this time. There is her name right there. What's this? So who's this person? This Delilah Hawthorne. Miss Faye must be desperate. She's trying to bring the dead back to life. The dead? Delilah Hawthorne was the victim's deceased younger sister. She was killed in a crime 5 years ago. Killed in a crime? You don't mean... Yes, she was kidnapped and killed by Terry Flaws. Then why does it say to tell Delilah? You said she was killed, but was she really? What are you implying? Of course, people thought she died 5 years ago, when she fell off Dusky Bridge and was lost in the Eagle River. However, her corpse was never found. She was declared legally dead 5 years ago. As far as the law is concerned, Delilah Hawthorne is officially dead. But the fact remains that her body was never recovered. Delilah Hawthorne was 14 years old 5 years ago. If she were still alive, she would be 19 now. Melissa Foster. I believe that's the same age you are. Even you couldn't, Miss Faye. You're not saying. But I am. That's precisely what I'm saying. This witness before us is the girl that was kidnapped and killed 5 years ago. This girl is in fact Miss Delilah Hawthorne. What? Huh, nice work. That was like tossing a grenade into a 3-alarm fire. Unless you can tie all the loose ends together, you'd nothing but a run and hide arsonist. Hide and run arsonist. I understand. If it can expose her true nature, it can turn this whole case on its head. This feels like a perfect time to save. Now is my chance to make Mr. Edgeworth squirm. Witness? Just who are you anyway? I didn't think it'd come to this. That's enough. You don't have to say any more, witness. Yes, I understand. What? Mr. Edgeworth, explain yourself. Your Honor, I have an admission to make. I honestly never thought the defense would pursue the matter this far. You don't? You don't mean... Yes, the prosecutor's office isn't filled with fools, you know. Naturally, we conduct full background checks on all our witnesses. What did he say? Ha, looks like the kid knew. He knew her true identity from the get-go. No way, but then why? If you haven't revealed her secret, he wasn't going to say anything about it. All I wanted was her testimony, so we made a little trade. Let me introduce you to the victim's younger sister, Miss Delilah Hawthorne. But I thought she died 5 years ago. We thought so as well, but, well, as you can see... Why? Why did she hide her identity for 5 years? That has nothing to do with the current case. Kinda does. She was merely an accidental witness to a crime. Accidental? I don't believe that for a minute. For the last 5 years, she's been playing the role of victim. And now we find her acting suspiciously at the scene of another murder? Really, Miss Faye, I must say, your strategy here is painfully obvious. Trying to pin your client's crime on an innocent witness in order to win. At any cost. How dare you? Please, let us take a moment to think. 5 years ago, this girl was kidnapped and nearly killed. But even worse than that, 5 years later, Delilah Hawthorne lost something much more precious, her big sister. Miss Faye must be insane to suggest that she murdered her. What? That's precisely what I'm inclined to agree with the prosecutor's logic. Miss Faye, do you have any evidence to back up your assertion? Oops! You guys probably couldn't hear that, but I dropped a cup. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so we can get back to where I was so rudely interrupted by my own clumsiness. But yeah, I put towels down since I'm in a carpeted room, so I can't just mop everything up. But let's finish this case, and before I was interrupted by myself, I was going to save. So let's go ahead and do that now. Miss Faye, do you have any evidence to back up your assertion? What possible reason would this witness have for killing her beloved sister? Well, you see, I thought I was winning, but somehow he's turned it around on me. Ha. I think you need a little push in the right direction, kitten. The defense is prepared to present evidence supporting our claim. It's either the note or the crystal. That wasn't me. It was this guy, this crazy coffee addict. I think we've heard enough empty threats from you, old man. Ha, it makes you think they're empty, boy. Because your protege looks like she's sweating bullets. I am sweating bullets. You think you're in a tough spot, huh? Of course, aren't I? No. You've just arrived at the moment of truth, that's all. Whether you win or lose, that's up to you. Up to me. The rashness of youth, how charming. This coming from someone younger than me. Now then, let's not waste any more time, Miss Faye. What motive would the witness have for murdering her own sister? I'm pretty sure it's the entire truth must come out. The story starts after Terry Flaws escaped. He called Valerie and told her he wanted to meet. This is the note she left. It says, talk to Delilah. Tell her this time. The whole truth must come out. Valerie Hawthorne gave Delilah a warning. She told her she was going to reveal the world the whole truth. The whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There was a dangerously important secret between Valerie and Delilah. That's the reason Delilah felt she had to kill Valerie. To keep her mouth shut permanently. And this is where the crystal comes up. A terrific story, Miss Faye. If you like fiction, that is. Enlighten the court, Miss Faye. What was the secret that was so important? Where's your evidence? Delilah and Valerie Hawthorne and Terry Flaws. There's only one important secret that connects them all. Oh yes, I know the secret. Your Honor, the defense would like to request further testimony. But what testimony? Regarding the kidnapping 5 years ago. I believe it will explain a lot of things, such as the nature of the important secret between the Hawthorne sisters. Very well. I'll grant your request for further testimony. I know it'll be painful for you, but can you enlighten us once more, my little maple leaf? Yes, I'll try, Mr. Judge. Putting on the old charm once more, Delilah. But this will be the last time you hide behind your womanly wiles. "5 years ago, I was kidnapped by Mr. Flaws. The ransom price was a raw diamond. My sister, Valerie, brought it to the bridge. After she made the exchange, she shot Mr. Flaws in the arm. And that's when Mr. Flaws tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge from behind. And we know that's not true. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money. So I decided to change my identity and start a new life. Sure. The kidnapping left her emotionally scarred. With her sister's help, she left the Hawthorne family and started all over again. And we're to believe after all that she murdered her sister? Preposterous. Well, she's probably lying. Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. Miss Faye? Yes, Your Honor? As you've heard, the witness is still traumatized from the kidnapping. I'll ask you again to be extremely gentle in your cross-examination. Mr. Edgeworth got the jump on me again. Ha. If we're not allowed to fight, then let's twist some arms. Listen up. We still got that info, that ace up your sleeve. What info? Come on, kitten. Don't say you've forgotten already. The fact that the kidnapping 5 years ago was staged? That's right, it was a fake kidnapping. Terry Floss told us that in the lobby. I do anything she says, anything Delilah says. What you're saying is that the kidnapping 5 years ago was planned by, yeah, me and Delilah. And Valerie too. Yes, that's it. The fake kidnapping is your best shot, Mia. That's her secret. Alright, also, let's save this again. Also, I don't remember... Like, I know the ransom was never found because it was on her body. Okay, so they haven't changed this yet. Use Lost Eagle River, but it was on Delilah, so probably not lost. Did you and Mr. Floss have a relationship? Yes, as a tutor. You were tutoring him, Mr. Floss? No, of course not. Don't be ridiculous. Mr. Floss came to the house to tutor me. In what? That makes sense. 5 years ago, she was only 14. Probably came up with a kidnapping plan during that time. The Hawthorns are in the jewelry trade and are quite wealthy, you see. Quite the clever fellow, that Mr. Floss. Did I hear him right? Did you just call Mr. Floss a clever fellow? The ransom prize was a raw diamond. My sister Valerie brought it to the bridge. I heard the diamond is valued in the neighborhood of $2 million. $2 million? It was still uncut, so it was about the size of a pint of milk. $2 million pint of milk. I don't know what to think about that. The defendant demanded that her sister, Valerie, make the exchange. Not as a detective, of course, but as an individual. By the way, I want to ask you, Mr. Edgeworth, why do you think he wanted to make the exchange up there on that mountain? If he ever got surrounded, it would be hard to escape. There's one thing a kidnapper wants to prevent, and that's police involvement. In a place like that, it would be easy to tell if he was being followed. With only one entrance to the mountain, he was ensuring his safety. What a wickedly clever man that Mr. Floss is. Yeah, right. It was all your plan. Anyway, Valerie brought the diamond to the mountain and... After she made the exchange... I think this is really worse. What was the dangerous thing to do considering you were being held hostage? Yes, but... Actually, that saved my life. What do you mean? You see, Mr. Floss was holding a knife in his right hand. Somehow, I just knew he was going to use it. I knew he was going to use that knife to kill me. That's why my sister shot him. It was to save me. That was when Mr. Floss tried to kill me by shoving me off the bridge. I'd like to hear more about what happened right at that moment. Well, Mr. Floss was shot in the right arm. He let go of me. I was dazed. I turned to try and run away, but Mr. Floss turned to grab me as well. As I ran past, he and I locked eyes for a second, and he gave me a large, bloodthirsty grin. Bloodthirsty grin? Oh. And in the next instant... I advise the court to remember that the river is 18 feet deep and incredibly swift. I was a strong swimmer, but I was knocked out. When I came to, I had been carried away by the river to a strange place. I'll never forget that day. The crumbling bridge, nowhere to run. Then, just one little shove from behind. That was about it. Unless she went over in that little small crack, there's no way she should have gone over. Before my sister could catch me, I fell into the river. I survived, but I was afraid I might be kidnapped again for my family's money. And that's why you hid your identity? Yes, I only told my sister. Valerie Hawthorne, eh? Yes, she was the only one who knew about me. Meanwhile, legally this witness has been deceased for 5 years. I didn't ever want something like that to happen to me again. So I decided to change my identity and start a new life. And that new identity was Melissa Foster, right? Yes, my sister helped me get the official paperwork taken care of. It makes sense. Without an insider's help, doing all the paperwork would have been impossible. She was the only person left in the world I could count on. And you think I killed her? There's no way I could. It's the moment for truth for this witness too. Once the truth about the staged kidnapping comes out, everyone in the court will know just how much of a Jezebel she really is. Just gotta prove the kidnapping was a hoax. Okay, so I know like the thing is like what happened to the diamond. She made the exchange. How am I supposed to do this? Okay, so like the thing is like tell her the truth. Let me read this through again. Valued at $1 million. It was still uncut. Okay, my problem in all this is where the diamond went after all of this. Is that... Oh, I did not mean to do that. That actually saved my life. Knife. I knew he was going to kill me, sure. I want to ask about... I know this isn't right. No, it doesn't. So I decided to change my identity. Kidnapped. Although the story of the knife is convenient considering the autopsy report. 40 feet. Taken. $2 million. I don't think. Witnessed on photographed incident. Valerie's sister. Kidnap, murder, fell from bridge, nobody found. Maybe why would he push you off the bridge if you had the diamond? I really need to stop doing that. Shot in the left arm, he let me go. It was days. For my sister. I think this is where I need to press her on the thing. No, Your Honor, what do you think of the witness's statement? So you hid our identity, only she knew. But you still would have had the... Oh my gosh, I'm terrible at pressing between tab and Q. Nope. Is it supposed to be here? Because I know I'm supposed to present this diamond, I just don't know where. Nope. I'm gonna look this up actually. And you guys can join me for the looking up process. Because I kind of sort of keep the walkthrough running in the background. Alright, part 2. And this is the 5 years ago cross-examination. Oh! Oh wow. I love how this was something that I brought up last time, but shoved her off. This was something I brought up last time, I love, and I forgot all about it. So let me minimize that. You say that Mr. Flaws pushed you into the Eagle River? However, that's hard to believe. But it's true. I felt a push on my back. I'm certain of it. It was Mr. Flaws. This was something exactly that I brought up last time and I forgot about it. I'm sorry, I guess I wasn't clear enough. I shouldn't have said that's hard to believe. I should have said that's impossible. Impossible? I asked the court to recall the condition of Dusky Bridge now and 5 years ago. That bridge hasn't changed one bit in these last 5 years. If someone had pushed you from behind, as you have claimed, instead of being carried away by the river, you would have been smashed by the bedrock below, almost certain death. Do you understand now, Delilah Hawthorne? The very notion that my client pushed you from behind is impossible. Your Honor, this event occurred 5 years ago. For I probably know the water level in the river may have been higher back then. But it's 40 feet from the bridge to the river. A small change in the water level wouldn't have made a difference. Exactly. You're right. If the events occurred just as the witness has testified, then the defendant couldn't have pushed the witness into the river. Young lady, what is the meaning of this? You see, Just a moment, Your Honor. It's true that the witness testified the defendant pushed her into the river. However, she never stated that she fell from the back end of the bridge. What? What do you mean? After being shot in the arm, it's plausible that Mr. Floss panicked. Therefore, he could have unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. No, she's too tall for that. If that's true, she would have fallen into the river. Well, Miss Hawthorne, is Mr. Edgeworth's explanation correct? Now that you mention it, I do remember now, when I fell off the bridge. My skirt got caught on one of the bridge side wires. You can't be serious. Order in the court. Seems Miss Faye's assault has finally reached its conclusion. Not now, Mia. This is no time to retreat. Fortunately for you, this is just the start of Miss Faye's assault. What? I believe your reasoning went something like this, Mr. Edgeworth. After being shot in the arm, it's possible that Mr. Floss panicked. Therefore, he could have been unwittingly pushed her off the side of the bridge. However, once again, I'm forced to say, that's impossible. Ridiculous. What's so impossible about it? Because of your flawed logic contradicts the court record. And there's no way he could have pushed her off. Because of this photo. Your Honor, all the answers are right here in this photo. Take a look at the wires supporting both sides of the bridge. They extend up to about 5 feet off the ground. It would be impossible to push someone off from there. But let's remember the size and strength of the defendant. Wires like this wouldn't be a problem for him. He could have easily picked up a 4-year-old girl and thrown her over with a shot arm. So young and already so forgetful, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Floss had been shot on the right arm. And more importantly, Valerie Hawthorne had her gun trained on him at point-blank range. So, Mr. Floss throwing the witness off the bridge, that's clearly impossible. Order. What is the meaning of this? Delilah Hawthorne, you jumped into the Eagle River intentionally. What? What is this? Indeed, what do you mean by such a ridiculous remark? Yes, it's ridiculous. My sister was there to help me. She had her gun in handcuffs. She could have saved me. Jumping into the raging river like that, it would have been suicide. Perhaps, but still, that's exactly what you did. You're probably confident that you could handle the swift current, but even more so, the witness had much more compelling reason for jumping into the river. Oh, then what was it? What was so important that she wanted to jump into the river? Witness is still alive. This fact alone explains everything. This is why she risked her life by jumping into the rapids. The diamond. 5 years ago, something else disappeared along with Delilah that day. The item that Valerie brought up the mountain with her, the $2 million diamond. No, it can't be. Yes, Delilah had it all planned from the beginning. The $2 million. She's going to keep it all for herself. She forced Mr. Floss to help her fake the kidnapping. At the last minute, she betrayed him and threw herself into the river, with the ransom tucked away safely in her backpack. Why that's simply ridiculous. Order. Your Honor, 5 years ago, the witness was only 14 years old. Do you really think a 14-year-old is capable of such a demonic plan? That woman is a demon. And there's one more person who helped make a demon out of her. Her sister. Valerie Hawthorne. You mean the victim was involved in the kidnapping plot as well? But she was the detective then. You're saying she participated in her sister's kidnapping? Precisely. I'm sure that it weighed heavily on her conscience for the past 5 years. This is the sole reason behind the victim's murder. What do you mean by that? On the day of the murder, after receiving the phone call from Mr. Flaws, Valerie called her sister, Delilah, and then she told her what she was planning to do. Planning to do? She was going to tell the whole truth, as she wrote in her note. That is what sealed Valerie Hawthorne's fate. That is when you hatched your demonic plan to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. A plan that would ensure neither of your accomplices to the kidnapping would talk. And that is why you killed your sister, Valerie Hawthorne. Miles looks so weird. Hee hee. But who is that, laughing at a time like this? Forgive me, it's just hilarious. Witness? Is that you? You amuse me, woman, Miss Mia Fey. You can certainly weave an exciting tale. Naturally, you have the evidence to back it up, don't you? Evidence? Evidence that I planned the kidnapping, of course. That at 14, I plotted it with Mr. Flaws and my sister. Well, And one more thing. What happened to the $2 million diamond? You can't prove evidence to at least show that. Well, Miss Fey, I don't know. What a joke. You, Miss Fey. Are you stupid or something? Ugh. How can I prove a fake kidnapping that happened 5 years ago? I don't even have decisive proof that Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Well, it seems that we've come to the end. To be honest, the witness's behavior does raise certain suspicions. However, I'm forced to reject the assertions made by the defense. Of course you are. This is why we have reasonable doubt. Is this it? Is it really over? That girl has made a fool of me and there's nothing I can do about it. Ha. Without evidence, the trial is over? Who decided that? Mr. Armando. Come on now, kitten. Haven't you figured out that you can make your own rules? For example, even if there's no evidence, there's still testimony. Testimony? On the day in question, Delilah Hawthorne murdered her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. She hid her body in the trunk of Mr. Flaw's stolen car, and then went to meet with him. Disguised as her sister, Valerie Hawthorne. That's what you think, right? Yes, that's right. In that case, there's only one answer, right? There's only one person left who can testify about Valerie Hawthorne's murder. Still, there's no proof. There's only one thing left to do. Who's the one person who can testify to that demon woman's crimes? Our victim, right? Your Honor, the defense wishes to call a new witness. A new witness? Yes, we would like to hear the testimony of Terry Flaws. The defendant. There's only one person that can shed any further light on the situation. Only one person that knows what Delilah's role in the kidnapping was. The only one person that can say whether the person in the photo is Valerie Hawthorne, or whether it was in fact her younger sister Delilah disguised as her. There's only one person who can solve this riddle once and for all, and that one person is Terry Flaws. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what is your take on this? Why not? The prosecution has no objections. Very well. Bailiff, bring the defendant to the witness stand. This can either go very well or very poorly. My last chance to establish Delilah's guilt. You're all I have left. I'm a bit iffy about what he could possibly have to say about this. Defendant, you heard everything that's been said up to this point, yes? I don't believe it. No way. Delilah died 5 years ago. Valerie betrayed me. Mr. Flaws? I don't know what she said to you 5 years ago, but one thing is clear. Delilah is very much alive. and you were used for $2 million. That's not true, Mr. Flaws. There's only one question I want the answer to. 2 days on Dusky Bridge, who did you meet? Was it Valerie Hawthorne, or was it Delilah Hawthorne? Delilah, did you betray me? 5 years ago she promised never ever betray each other. Terry. Delilah, it's true? It is true, you are alive. You don't trust me anymore? That makes me sad. Tell the truth, the real truth. I believed in you. I shouldn't need to say it, you should already know. But there's one thing I will say. My life is in your hands right now, Terry. Delilah? I will allow Mr. Floss to testify once and only once. Well then, Mr. Floss, yours will be the final testimony in this trial. Witness? Gah. Eek. I'm sorry. I apologize. But water. Please, water. Can't talk. Need water. Oh, well I guess it'll have to be my coffee instead. At least it'll match the way he's probably feeling right now. Darker and bitter than hell itself. Yeah, this is really sad. He got put on death row for something he didn't do. That day, 4 p.m., I stopped the car. I was in front of Bridge. She wasn't there, so I waited on Bridge. I watched my car from Bridge. I never put no body in that car. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked. Then she left. That was Valerie, not my Delilah. Mr. Floss, you're covering for her. Do you think she would do the same for you? That's enough. His last statement was the fitting way to end the testimony. Well then, Ms. Faye, proceed with your cross-examination. If he had been there first, the photo doesn't make sense. So we're not going with that. But yeah, based on the photo, I was waiting on the bridge. I waited on bridge. You were quite early, so you waited on the bridge, correct? Yeah, I like waiting. I'm used to it. I'm sure he is. Zebra Roy waited 5 years to ask a single question, to find out why a woman betrayed him. To him, 30 minutes must have been like a blink of an eye. I watched my car from the bridge. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. We talked. Then she left. Unless you were watching the car, that bridge, other side is broken. No one can come from there. So I was watching the car. What else were you expecting him to do? I suppose that's the obvious thing to do, but something's bothering me. I'm getting that feeling, a contradiction. I wonder what's on the other side of the broken bridge anyway. No one lives there. There's a small shrine up on the mountain, but that's it. Anyway, nobody came, no car, nothing. Finally, one woman came. She stood in front of me. Mr. Floss, think carefully now. Are you certain it was Valerie Hawthorne? I never lie. It's the truth. It was Valerie. I remembered her face. Wait a minute. If you had remembered her face, then why did you make her wear a scarf as identification? Sorry, I told a little lie. But the woman I met, she was different from the woman standing here now. She was different. It was Valerie. We talked, then she left. What did you talk to her about anyway? Mr. Flaws? Valerie told the truth about the kidnapping 5 years ago. She said someone needed to take blame for it. That was all I could think to do. She said that. That's why she lied, got me the death penalty. And were you satisfied with the answer, witness? Delilah died. It was my fault. But I don't really remember. Maybe I did. Maybe I did push her in. It don't matter no more. Either way, my Delilah, my sweet teen angel, dead. You just saw that she isn't dead. After Valley talked to me on the bridge, nothing left to live for. That was... Well, he was certain it was... Launched my car. Let me do this. According to the note, you're supposed to meet at 4:30. It was raining, already dark. Being on the bridge for 30 minutes? Mr. Flaws, Eagle Mountain, that spot. Strong, strong memories. Why did he just climb up? Could it be he's hiding something here? This photo doesn't make sense if he's waited there alone. So when you got to the bridge, no one had arrived, huh? So you waited on the bridge? You were sure of that? Yeah, I'm sure. You're sure, huh? Well, then I'm sure too, Mr. Flaws. I'm sure that you're lying. Huh? What? Oh, I would love to hear your rationale on this, Miss Faye. You want to know who arrived at the bridge first? Just look at this photo. It's perfectly clear. Obviously, the person that came first would be at the end of the bridge, right? But that's the victim at the end of the bridge. Precisely my point. In other words, Mr. Flaws, you must have arrived at the bridge after she did. Mr. Flaws, please don't get so worked up. You just want the truth. I got there around 4 o'clock, it's true. I had somewhere to go, a special place. Did you go to the special place before you went to the bridge? Yeah, it's an old temple about 15 minutes from the bridge. That is when she put the dude in the car, her sister in the car. 5 years ago, me and Delilah, we promised each other. We swore we wouldn't betray each other. She brought a memento to represent our love. Memento? 5 years ago, I hid it under the base of the tree there. It was a special memory for me. This is what I went to get. That's the vial the poison was in. From the Phoenix case, in the last game. This little bottle and a necklace is your memento? It's quite charming, but it looks empty. Your Honor, you heard what my client said. He arrived at the scene at 4 o'clock. But he then left his car unattended and walked away. He was gone for approximately 30 minutes. With that much time, Delilah Hawthorne could have easily hidden the body in the trunk of his car. No. Indeed, there certainly was enough time for it. Still got a chance. Mr. Floss, there's no mistaking it. Huh? Mr. Floss? What? Is he, like, coughing up blood? That's enough. Please. Witness? I promised her, 5 years ago, if it ever happens, that we can't trust each other no more, then we're supposed to drink bottle. No, stop the trial. Your Honor, we need a recess. He needs a hospital. I couldn't keep promise. So I did it. I drank this. No, you're so close, just a little more. It's going to prove your innocence. No, don't want that. Don't trust self. Maybe kill again. Kill sweet little Isla again. Mr. Flaws. Mr. Armando? Thanks for the coffee. Mr. Flaws. We're getting him to a hospital, right? And so my first trial ended, suddenly and tragically. It ended with no winners, only losers. And because she didn't go to jail for this, this is what allowed her to be on Phoenix's trial, with Delilah getting nothing. This is what I was worrying about, because I was so sure that she did this, but if she had done this, she shouldn't have been on the stand in Phoenix's trial. I guess so. I ended up with a wound that cut so deep into my soul. I thought it'd never heal. I'm sure it was the same for the young prosecutor as well. But one person, the true criminal, Delilah Hawthorne, she left the courtroom with a secret smile on her demonically sweet face. Unforgivable. That witch. Mr. Armando, you were so close to the truth. It was right there in front of us. You were just a little too soft, kitten. It's my fault. It's all my fault that Mr. Flaws killed himself. Don't cry, kitten. You're going to make my coffee all salty. I knew it. I knew I wasn't cut out for this. Mia. He calls my name. Don't you get it? You can't cry yet. Oop. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. Mr. Armando, are you going to get to a hospital? No matter how tough the case, no matter how bitter the memories, they always fade over time. Then you file them away and eventually forget them. Is this Phoenix talking? One year later, in this very same courthouse, I myself got wrapped up in that case. Only after that did Delilah Hawthorne get put on trial for her crimes. The verdict that was ultimately handed down to her was guilty, of course. Naturally, when the verdict was read, she had a perfect angelic smile on her face. Is he in the hospital? I'm just noticing that thing by his head. It was finally all over. At least that's what I thought at the time. Unfortunately, couldn't have been more wrong. It's been 5 years, but now something has happened that's made me remember all this. Something in the next case? It has to be the next case, right? That reminded him of Delilah and all that. A brand new episode's been added. Thank you. I have a feeling this has to do with Mia's mother, considering the imagery in the back, because the one on the top is Ami, at least a statue of Ami that we talked about before with the museum episode, and I think the bottom image might be the mom who disappeared 5 years ago. That might be it. I hope so. But this is really an interesting case. So, I knew Delilah was sick and twisted, but oh my gosh, she's really sick and twisted. And then I'm hoping that this next case, since it is the last trial in the trilogy, at least I'm pretty sure it is, that everything just gets wrapped up beautifully. We figure out what happened to the mom. Maya gets closure. Mia, at that point, might get closure. And we can pass the awesome sorceress thing to Pearls, because Maya does not want it. But we'll see next time. I believe the next trial is a really long one, so we'll be dealing with that for a while. But I will see you guys next time. Bye!